about their own identities. So the two things that we started, the first thing that we did was look at reliquaries from history and talk about different types of reliquaries, and they're really excited because reliquaries are kind of gross and they're engaged with that. But also it's a really fascinating idea in the sense of like, this is how we preserve something that's sacred, and what is sacred to this culture as opposed to this culture. And then we tied that back into the now, so looking at our culture now. Before we started building, we also looked at iconography and logos and how powerful it is that shapes can represent ideas or entities, and we actually looked at famous logos and talked about how much those designers have been paid to create those logos, how those logos are actually just shapes. We talked a lot about looking at the Apple logo. It actually doesn't look like an apple, it's just two shapes, but it makes you think of all these things and these experiences. And so after we had introduced both the idea of the reliquary and the idea of logos and iconography, we combined that. So that was the entry into their ideation process, which led to them creating a reliquary with covers that had logos or iconography that represented themselves. So we used the repoussé technique with the layered cardboard and then putting foil and ink and acrylic paint over it, and then attaching it to the pencil container. And all of them are on hinges as well, so that they can have that kind of reliquary piece. So in order to get them to really think about their personal identities and the precious nature of reliquaries, we then did a variety of color explorations. We did a lot. We did color explorations where we did bubble painting, tissue paper painting, and acrylic painting. And those became the backgrounds for a letter to their 7th grade self and a self-portrait that we did with monoprinting. And that was the precious element that they were putting in there. And we talked a lot. It was fun because we were able to talk as a class about aging and how you're not always going to be in 6th grade, even though it feels like that. You know, what would you want to tell yourself next year, and what do you look like right now, and that's going to change. And I think that that was a really cool idea for students because it's hard to think of that when you're a kid.